franchise science fiction on big screen and small is in a philosophically tricky place right now, and while there's plenty going on in town this week which we'll get to, I'm going to start off with some observations about brand name entertainment in its current nostalgia dystopia phase. Between a brand new trailer for The Last Jedi, 4 episodes of Star Trek Discovery and the 35-year Slater sequel, Blade Runner 2049, one can easily hear what Watchmen creator Alan Moore noted in Fast Company a while back as a widespread cultural barrenness across art and political culture, it seems, he noted, snarling about unnecessary spin-offs of his graphic novel masterpiece, that every movie is a remake of something that was better when it was first released in a foreign language, as a 1960s TV show, or even as a comic book. Now you've got theme park rides as the source material of movies. The only things left are breakfast cereal mascots. In our lifetime, we will see Johnny Depp playing Captain Crunch. I'm going to be very light on the spoilers here, presuming you've seen this week's Star Wars trailer, have a passing familiarity with the new Star Trek series allegedly set between Star Trek Enterprise and James T. Kirk's original series, and don't mind knowing some basic details about Ryan Gosling's Officer K in the new Blade Runner, revealed in the first couple scenes. Whether this line actually ends up in Episode 7, I bet it won't, the troubled Kylo Ren says in a new ad, "Let the past die, kill it," which mirrors Luke Skywalker huffing in the teaser. I'd only know one truth, it's time for the Jedi to end. You can practically smell the screenwriters struggling against the fact the previous episode The Force Awakens was such a rehash, accidentally exemplified by Ren's occupation in the desert like the Jawas before her as a garbage picker and recycler. I don't want to get too down on Episode 7 again, but if you pick up The Art of Star Wars The Force Awakens, which shows the visuals being developed chronologically, it's a miracle we got a film this coherent. But what the book poignantly reveals above all is that even during production, they truly didn't really have a story, just a series of iconic images, like that Star Destroyer being buried in the sand. So it's that motivation to make this art, I question. Is it because the filmmakers, like George Lucas once did, have a burning, unstoppable desire to tell a story, or is it because a money-making machine needs to be fueled? Well, Disney and all, and the interchangeable director syndrome says a lot, though like many I do have more hope for Rian Johnson's new film. This question of artistic motivation versus just cashing in is also in the room with Star Trek Discovery, continuing the franchise's sputtering immortality. So far it's generally bucked the episodic nature of the 6 previous Star Trek series, and is at least pretending to be about a low-ranked Starfleet officer, even though the captain is the show's most intriguing character. Created in part by Bryan Fuller, Discovery is predictably most notable for its style, rocking our expectations of what TV Star Trek looks and feels like, and it's definitely inspired by J.J. Abrams' speedball aesthetic, with more Dutch tilts per minute than a drunken photographer's convention. The most notable alteration is the Klingons, who as bald, seething cannibals are unrecognizable from any previous Star Trek. They alone prove this show is Star Trek's first true reboot. It's impossible to imagine the world of William Shatner's Kirk and Leonard Nimoy's Spock following this slick and touch advanced reality just 10 years later, barring some sort of parallel universe explanation. But is Discovery telling us anything new right now? We're in the midst of a "the monster is just protecting itself" yarn. Anyone remember the Horde or Next Gen's premiere, Encounter at Fairpoint? And why, besides presumed audience addiction to the familiar, didn't they set it past the events of Voyager, where there are no limitations so far it's crossing over with familiar characters? Spock's father Sarek, have been flat as a snow-covered basketball left in the yard all winter. Oh well, fingers crossed. But the question lingers, and I think a lot of us feel this unease, did we really need more Star Trek? Which brings us, finally, to Blade Runner 2049, which I outright loved, long and hopeless and gloomy as it is, just like the 1982 originale won't reveal much, but off the bat we learn Gosling's Officer K is a robot in love with a computer program, which is, finally, a new idea, which infiltrates the rest of the plot, also full of other, whole new ideas. Beautifully shot, acted, scored and written, this film is actual cinema, full credit to Canadian director Denis Villeneuve. You feel bad watching it because you're supposed to, and the philosophical implications of the relationships between any two characters in the film just gush with damning metaphors about where we are in history, especially our terrifying dependence on technology to lure intimacy our way. Go see this one on as big a screen as you can before it goes away. CGI Chewbacca and that cute Porgs thing will still be here when you get back. Edmonton expats rural Alberta Advantage will be playing a free show at Blackbird Music 10,442 82 Avenue at an event running between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. Friday, to promote their new album, The Wild. The shop will have cream-colored vinyl of the new album and is also doing a cross-promotion with Mill Street Brewery, a special beer brewed called the R.A. Ale, which will also be on tap that night and all weekend at Malt Mortar down the street at 10,416 82 Avenue. Finally, back to film. Metro Cinema is presenting a number of horror movies throughout October, including Alfred Hitchcock's masterfully shot and edited 1960 classic, Psycho 9 p.m. Friday, The Craft 9:30 p.m. Saturday, and the 80s and 90s video mixtape Mayhem of Skeleton Farm's Halloween Horror Show 1159 p.m. that same night. Click here on the times to buy tickets. I especially love that Dirty Dancing is in the mix, 7 p.m. Saturday. Now that's Scary Grikowski at postmedia.com at Fisheye Photo.